fast forward maybe a year and a half later, I was working from midnight to 9 at a grocery store, and they would let me work from 3 to midnight, midnight to 9, and get like a double shift, and then make like time and a half. So when you're like 17
It's funny.
and you're making like $20 an hour and you don't care, like 3 to midnight, midnight to 9, like whatever.
It's probably $9 an hour, by the way, not 20.
No,
it's 20.
No, well, because time and a half, right?
Oh, time and a half.
Time and a half, right? So, I mean, it was, great cash, and my rent was like $600, and my motorcycle was like $50 and gas. It was like a little Honda 125cc motorcycle, not like a Harley. But I had the reflective moment where it was like 3:00 in the morning, and I'm sitting next to the guy next to me, and we're both stocking shelves, and like, I like I like working, right? So I'm like stocking and stocking and stocking and stocking. And I've noticed I'm going really fast, and he's just kind of taking his time and doing something and slowly doing his thing, and kind of wanted to chit chat most of the time. And I'm like, no, efficiency, get it done. Like, let's go, let's perform, right? And I look at him, and I had this moment. Holy shit, that's going to be me at 35. I was like 17. He was 35. He was old, right?
Yep.
And it hit me. I need to do something different. And I didn't know what different was, but it was like, maybe 2 months of that reflection. And then my dad comes walking into the grocery store, and he's wearing like a, slick Armani suit, probably just pulled in from LAX, probably spoke in 5 different cities in 5 days.
And for those,
yes.
Tom Ferry is the iconic leader coach. Tell us about your dad just for a moment here. Folks may not know him.
Okay. So my dad is a legend. So my dad flunked out of San Jose State trying to get a degree in speech and communication, and then becomes one of the most iconic presenters and is a legend amongst the NSA, the National Speakers Association, like forever. My grandfather, his dad, by the way, started Toastmasters in Orange County. So it's in the blood.
Oh gosh.
You know what I mean? Like it's, we're a presenting kind of family, I guess.
Yes.
But he went to work for a guy named Earl Nightingale. Earl created the motivational speaking industry. He was doing $1 million a month, selling records like The Strangest Secret, and got to set goals and all this kind of stuff. Turned that into Nightingale Kona, which became a huge, what we would almost look at like as an Amazon marketplace of every motivational speaker on the planet. So my dad was there, became his number one salesperson, started to ascend, got fired, and then went into real estate. Sold houses for 18 months. Chose the career. I'm going to go into real estate for 18 months. Then I'm going to build the greatest real estate sales training business, because the only other person out there is Tommy Hopkins.
This what year?
This is like 1975.
This is the foundation. This is the foundation.
Yeah. 1978, he starts, and he, basically is just getting paid, $300 to $500 to go do a talk. And he would go do a talk anywhere he could, all across the country, anywhere, driving in this old 300D Mercedes that Mark Victor Hansen, who wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul, later took and put another couple 100,000 miles on it. It's a very incestuous little world. But that was the foundation. Hard work, discipline, provide value, build a business, do it the right way. There was no technology back then. So when I joined, it was like this little $3 million business where he never knew where he was going to be the next day, the next week. He never knew, how many people would be in the room. Could he sell his books and tapes?
He just knew that the activity was going to lead to an outcome.
He was like every great entrepreneur in the beginning. If I just focus on revenue and taking care of my clients and providing value, I'm going to win. But if most don't focus on the revenue side, they're like, let me build the world-class product and then it's going to come. He was like, the product will come. I'll find it if I just go talk to enough people. I'll find out what they need, and then I'll develop that and then bring it back out to the marketplace. So again, by the time I got to him, he was doing $3 million a year in revenue. I run him to the grocery store, and I remember like, Greg, I've got like purple hair. I'm wearing a Bauhaus t-shirt, which will only have, some connection for some people listening. And I run up to him and I go, Dad, I want to run your company.
Awesome.
So we hadn't talked in 18 months.
Yes.
And he, like, you got to get, like, we're at Vaughn's Pavilion on Bayside Drive in Corona Del Mar, and he has a, shopping cart in his hand. He looks at me and he goes, when the drugs wear off, come talk to me.
Yes.
So as the joke said, I waited 5 or 6 hours, and the next day I dyed my hair to a reasonable color, put on my best all black outfit, because that's all I ever wore. And I walked in with this just complete nonsensical 5-year plan. I'm going to,
and you walked into an iconic figure in your life.
For sure.
Your dad is a larger than life character.
Huge.
And figure. And so you walked on in as the middle son.
Yep.
With a nonsensical plan.
Yes.
While working the grocery store.
Yes.
And he said,
I presented my 5-year plan, which in 5 years I would be the president of the company. And he said, okay, that's terrific. He offered me a job, which was less than what I was working, or less than what I was getting paid at the grocery store. I accepted it on the spot, gave notice, and basically just, it's like shipping and receiving Like I did every shit job to learn the business. I don't know whether it was by design or he just didn't know where else to put me. I think probably he just didn't know where else to put me. Learn accounting, did a little bit of marketing, but we didn't really have marketing back then. It was like faxing flyers to people. Like that was marketing. And then
Faxes were progressive.
It was awesome, right? And then finally he's like, hey, why don't you go into sales? And that's where it all turned.
And that's returned because these innate skills you had built by going from high school to high school, trying to be seen and make connections. I'm getting therapeutic on you here, but
love it.
Trying to make connections, you found your path that brought that all together. And then what happened?
It exploded. I went from making, $25,000 to 65, the next year 125, the next year 200. In my third year of sales, I had 2 or 3 telemarketers working for me, making phone calls. So all I could do is just present all day long. 2 headsets.
Tom, how'd you know how to do that?
So what I figured out was it was super inefficient for me. Even if I had 2 phones and I was dialing simultaneously and then one person would answer, I couldn't get a hold of enough people fast enough. And what I would do is I'd take a younger sales guy and then a younger sales gal and say, listen, the commissions are $100. I'll give you half. Just get people on the phone. I can close more than anybody. So they would just start working for me as
so
like
there wasn't
OSA, ISA.
So there wasn't inside sales coaching businesses back then.
Hell no.
So you had to invent this. And your dad gave you the room? At this point, the trust was there sufficient? So your dad gave you the room to do this?
He was on the road all the time.
Good.
So there wasn't like, I think we got a sales manager, Greg Howard, shout out to Greg. I think in like year 3, he lasted a year and then I took his job.